Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here, and this is the virtual coffee break. Here's my coffee. Grab your beverage, and let's chat for just a minute. Had a very full day. I had 5 appointments today, and that's more than usual, but it was a lot of fun running the gamut. We had a whole bunch of different issues coming up. One of the things that's on my mind tonight, as I'm finishing my day, is the whole idea of making introductions. Now, I have a business that's almost 100% referral based. I do very little marketing other than networking and referring and building up a strong referral network. And so introductions are a big part of that, both having me on the receiving end of introductions and on the giving end of introductions. And there are a few things that I wanted to mention to you about that. There have been some learning times in my life when I was introduced to someone, but I wasn't ready for it. And what I mean by that is usually when people introduce you to someone else, they see a connection, they see a potential, relationship there, or a potential, opportunity there. And there have been times when I've been introduced to people and I had no idea why we were being introduced. And then after the conversation, I was kind of left wondering and scratching my head if I'd actually given them anything of value in the exchange, because I just was not prepared for it. And so one of the things that I've done in offering introductions to people is that I want to make sure that you're really clear before I introduce you on a few things. The first thing that I want you to be clear about is the person that I'm introducing you to. So very often, if you ask me to make an introduction, there are 2 conditions that I generally have about that. The first one is, if we can meet in person, you're golden. If you make the effort to show up and make the effort to be there where I can make the introduction in person, I'm happy to make that introduction for you, because at that point you can actually get to know that person just a little bit better because you're already there. If you haven't shown up, if you're not showing up to meet the person face to face, what I usually ask you to do is to do some research before I make the introduction. So very often I will send you a link to a podcast episode or a video that they've done, or to a TED Talk that they've given, or anything where you can really get to know who they are and understand who it is that you're talking to. The second thing that I usually ask is that if you're going to be asking them for something, there are 2 things that I want you to have prepared before you go in. And one of them is some kind of a way for them to understand why they should help you, or why you are somebody that they should know. In some cases, I'll ask you to have, a resume, or I'll ask you to have some kind of a way for them to understand who you are and why they should care. And then the second thing that I really would like to have you be very clear about before I introduce you is, what are you specifically asking them for? The people that I tend to introduce people to are busy, and they don't have a lot of time to just kind of blow the breeze and just chat. So I really feel like that if we're making introductions, that we really need to honor the other person's time. So I've started to do that. If I've been introduced to somebody, before I even respond to the introduction, I start looking online for who they are. I look at their videos, I listen to their podcasts, I read their blog posts. I try to find anything that I can to understand who it is that I'm being introduced to. And then the second thing is I need to kind of understand about what is possible here. Now, I may not be able to discern that ahead of time. That may be something that won't be known until we actually have a conversation. But I think it's a good idea to go in thinking about, is there something, first of all, that I can offer them? Second of all, is there something that I can ask them for in terms of guidance, advice, suggestions for people that I should know, anything that would be of a professional benefit to me? Being clear about that before I go in is really, really helpful. And then finally, I think the most important part is to, in preparing for the first conversation, or even in preparing for replying to the introduction, one of the things that I always look at is how are we going to continue the conversation? Is this something where I need to send them a link? Is this something where I need to ask them for a link for a Zoom room? Is this something where we're going to meet in person? Is this something where the protocol would be more along the lines of, meeting for a meal or a beverage, or something like that? Or is it a meeting that needs to happen in a more professional environment? Do I need to offer to drive to their office or show up at their workplace? All of those questions I think are really important to consider. So as you're asking people to introduce you to others, to other professionals, make sure that you have your stuff together. You don't want to go into an introduction unprepared, and you don't want to go in just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. Really go in knowing what you're asking for, knowing what you bring to the side of the conversation, and understanding who it is that's on the other side of the conversation from you. So those are my thoughts for today. All of this said, if you want me to make an introduction, just do all of those things and then let me know when you're ready. Sound like a plan? Like I said, I learned all of this from doing it the wrong way first. And there are some first conversations that I've had with people that I'm still embarrassed about, and a couple of them I probably will never ever talk to again because the embarrassment runs so deep, even though they probably haven't thought twice about it. Anyhow, folks, that's all the stuff that's kind of rambling around my little pea brain. Thanks for your attention and your time. As always, wonderful commodities that you choose to share with me are much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow with another coffee break. And until then, I hope you have a good one, whatever it is where you are. So long.